First of all, I don't know who's got Instagram. You guys got Instagram? Yeah, right. Did anybody watch the Gen Z version of watching? What was it? Gen Z's version of Notes of a Sermon or something? When a Gen Z edits a sermon. There you go. Did anybody see that? What Everly put out? Oh my gosh. She sent it to me, Sunday night? She's like, hey, can I post this? I'm like, okay, well, yeah, let me see. I'm looking at it, and it's like, it was kind of long. It was like 30 seconds or something. What?
You're doing it again right now.
I'm doing it again. I don't know what it is, but I have this pose that I don't know. I speak with my hands, right? So it was a very, I was laughing, and Andrew's like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, this is hysterical. Like, what a great opportunity to laugh at myself, because that was so good. Like, what is this? It's a Bible. That was so good. That was really good. I appreciated that. So, anytime we could put something funny out like that, I think that's great. All right, we ready? We're almost done with the Makarios, with the Beatitudes. And so we're going to get a couple more weeks in here, and then I've talked to the teacher team. I think we're going to continue in Matthew, because one thing that for a long time I have believed, that if you could read anything in the Bible, in my opinion, if you could read Matthew 5, 6, and 7, these are three of the most applicable chapters and the most impactful chapters, especially if you dig in and you start to see the meaning, especially as we've been looking at Makarios, like the deeper meanings, the sayings that are in these words, like they are life-changing to a community. So we're gonna finish 5, 6, and 7 after we finish these Makarios. But we're almost done with these. I think we have one or two more. So let's go to Matthew chapter 5. And let's read 5, 1 through 11. Who's got me? Well, you shouldn't read it, because I think the homework was to memorize it, right? So who's memorized it? Anybody? Jump up. Everly, you probably did, right? Yeah, she did. Okay, but we won't put you on the spot. Very good. Somebody read for me. Shauna, read Matthew 5, 1 through 11, please.
Seeing the crowds, he went up on the mountain, and when he sat down, his disciples came to him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account.
Excellent. Last week we spoke about, in your version said, blessed are the merciful. How do we define that? Happy are what? What? Lucky are the what? What was the word? Do you remember? What was the word? It wasn't mercy. It wasn't compassion. What was the Hebrew word that we said it was? Chesed. Blessed are, happy are the hesed. Happy are those who understand what it means to receive grace and forgiveness, and you didn't deserve it. Happy is that person, because then that person knows how to extend grace and mercy and forgiveness to other people who do not deserve it. Those are the people who will truly experience blessing, because we recognize the chesed in our own lives. If you remember, there was an old saying that I quoted. It said, those who live with unforgiveness is what? Like someone waking up every morning and drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. Right? The idea of chesed is this relief that we experience when we actually forgive, when we actually extend grace to somebody. Because too often our heart says, no, they don't deserve it. I'm the victim. I'm the one who's been wronged. Why would I extend grace to somebody else? Why would I forgive them? Don't you remember what they did to me? And Yeshua says, no. The person who has already done this, they know what comes from this. They know the power of life change when you do that. And he continues. This one was it's interesting. I wonder if the authors kind of put these together at random, or if they put these in order. And I mean, I would assume that Yeshua said all of these one after the other, because it's like they build and they're becoming this big, massive thing. And we've broken them up separately, but I want to, at the end, maybe put them all together if I can. Because after last week and then moving into this week, it's like, okay, this is building. And so there was something, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey. As I was looking at this, I want you to kind of go through some of the things that I saw and see if you can maybe experience a little bit what I experienced. When I pulled up Matthew 5:8, I looked at the Greek, because that's what it was. So we have it in the next page right here. This is the Greek, and it says, Makarios ho katharos kardia hoti atos aptonomai theos. You're like, okay, great, that's Greek. I don't speak Greek, I don't know Greek, whatever. But if you look at this, you'll actually recognize a lot of these words as I started to look at this. And it's like, okay, so you already know the first word, makarios, and ho is like an R or that type of word. Katharos, cardia. What is the Greek word cardia? What does that transform into in our life? Ooh, Walt's got it. Cardio, heart, right? Cardia is what we call cardio. Cardio has to do with the heart. Okay, so makarios, cardia, heart. Hoti is for. Autos, not an automobile. What would autos be? It's not a car. Autos is a person, like an automated autos. Right? It's where we get this word for person. Autos. Theos. What's theos? What? God, right? Theos. That should be the easiest one. Theos is God. And then I saw this word. I was like, oh my gosh! Of course we know what this word is. Optinomia. What is that?
Optimism?
What?
Optimal?
Almost.
Optimism?
No. Optometrist. Ophthalmology. It's where we get the word ophthalmology. Optomnomia. Right? So all these words that we say in English, they have these roots here in the Greek when we don't even recognize them. You know, so I was looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, we actually, all of you actually know these words. And then I was like, okay, the last one, katharos. Katharos. What is that one? I'm looking at that one, and that was the one I was like, I don't know if I recognize katharos. What is that word?
Catharsis?
What?
Catharsis?
Catharsis. So then I'm looking at this, I'm like, wait a second. Lucky our catharsis heart. I'm like, what do you mean catharsis? What is catharsis? Anybody? What's catharsis? It's a word that is used in our vocabulary in English a lot.
AI? What's catharsis?
ChatGPT, what is catharsis? Hey Siri. Anybody? Shauna, you got it?
She said peaceful. I was thinking whole. Shalom.
Okay. Close. It's a process. It's a process of releasing pent-up emotions. It's about finding positive change and emotional relief. It's like, this is interesting. I had a conversation with somebody in my office today who was sharing a story from years ago. He was in a shootout. He was a police officer. He was in a shootout. And the other officer that he was with on that call was a deputy that he trained. And that deputy was shot and killed in front of him. And he said, you know, when you go through a shooting like that, you have to go see the counselors, and he said he saw two different ones, and he was like, these guys are full of crap. You know, the first one he shared with, I don't remember what the first counselor said, but the second counselor said, look, here's what I want you to do. I want you to find a friend, whether it be your wife or somebody that you really, really trust. And I want you to yell and scream whatever is on your heart, just get it out. And then I want you to go to Walmart and buy a plastic wiffle ball bat. I want you to go to your backyard and just beat the living snot out of a tree. And then, if you need to, I want you to go to your room by yourself, and I want you to cry. And these are things that I've heard, because we have counselors in our department, and I've heard this many times. And as he's saying this, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I'm having this conversation, because I've just been spending this last 2 mornings researching catharsis. And that's what catharsis is. It's the process of releasing this pent-up emotion, this anger, this frustration, this, like, what do you do with that type of trauma? What do you do with that type of experience? How do you get rid of it? Most people, and as what he said, what most people do is what? We push it down, right? And everybody in this room knows what happens when you push it down. It comes up. There is no suppressing it. And usually it happens at the absolute worst time. You usually release that valve and explode on who? Usually the person you love most. And it's destructive. And it hurts. And so catharsis is this idea of releasing the pain. Happy are the catharsis heart, for they shall see God. How many people do you know who have experienced trauma? Maybe as a child, maybe as an adult, who have been hurt by somebody or something. And it doesn't even have to be trauma. Maybe it's you grew up in a house of hypocrisy. Maybe you grew up with people who, in front of the public, they were the greatest people in the world, but in private, they were like abusive or hurtful or hypocritical. Or maybe you went to a church where you felt like, everybody at the church was perfect and you had to look a certain way and you had to stand up, kneel, sit down, do this, do that. You have to do all of these things and say these prayers that are rote, that you've memorized, but you don't know what they actually say. You just say them because everybody else says them. You follow these rules because you have to look the part. On the outside, everything looks good. But on the inside, what's happening? Matthew chapter 23. Who's got a Bible open? Matthew 23, verses 2 through 3 for me, please.
Then Jesus said to the crowds and to the disciples, the teachers of religious law and the Pharisees are the official interpreters of the law of Moses. So practice and obey whatever they tell you, but don't follow their example, for they don't practice what they teach.
Here's Yeshua saying, look, these teachers, they know it. They know their stuff. What they're teaching you is right on. You need to do what they say. Like all the words that they're teaching you are straight from God. This is good teaching. But what's the problem? Just don't follow their example. They know the right words. They know what the things say, but they don't live it. I mean, if you think about this, how do children learn? Do they learn what do children learn? Because you tell them what to do? What do they learn? By watching. So I grew up in a house, and this was, I think, generational. It was the idea of do as I say, not as I do. Well, what did Yeshua just say? Do as they say, but don't do as they do. And then he goes on a long list in 23 of here's what they do. Woe to the scribes and Pharisees because they do this. Woe, you're hypocrites, hypocrites, hypocrites. And then all the way down, John, read 23 through 26, please.
Okay. What sorrow awaits you teachers of religious law and you Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are careful to tip tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law, justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things. Blind guides, you strain your water so you won't accidentally swallow a gnat, but you swallow a camel. What sorrow awaits you teachers of religious law and you Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are so careful to clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you are filthy, full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisees, first wash the inside of the cup and the dish, and then the outside will become clean too.
Why do we struggle with this so much? Why do we as a society struggle so much to look good for everybody? To look like I got it all together, to play the part, to be like, see, look at like how good I am, or whether it be the right clothes, whether it be the right words that you say, or you're so focused on what are people going to think about me because of what I'm saying or what I'm doing or what I look like. And you should have said, what really matters? What is it that really matters? As you were singing a song, this passage came to mind. I had to quickly get up here so I wouldn't forget it. This is Ezekiel, who said this, and I, God is speaking to the prophet Ezekiel, and I shall sprinkle water, clean water on you, and you shall be clean. From all your filthiness and from all your idols, I cleanse you. And I shall give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. And I shall take the heart of stone out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh and put my spirit within you. And I shall cause you to walk in my laws and guard my right rulings, and you shall do them. As I was thinking, as we were praying,
I'm sorry. What was that?
that was Ezekiel.
What?
That was Ezekiel 36.
Thank you. That's okay.
36:25. As we were singing, I was wondering how many of us struggle because we have a hard heart. How many of us struggle with this passage? Happy the catharsis heart. How many of us struggle with this process of catharsis because our heart is so hard? Maybe because we've been hurt by somebody. Maybe because of the things that we've experienced, and we've built these walls up to protect ourselves, which is a natural thing. If I've been hurt, I want to, like my immune system, if I get sick, my immune system fights really hard so that it protects it from other illnesses. Well, our heart does the same thing. When I've been hurt, when I've been affected by somebody, when I've experienced trauma or hypocrisy or brokenness, my heart says no more. And I become distant. And we talk a lot in this community about authenticity and vulnerability. But how vulnerable can you be if you have layers of walls built around your heart? And if I can't be vulnerable and honest and authentic with you, how can I possibly be vulnerable and authentic with God? Hosea 6. Oh, and I just moved my place. Who's got Hosea 6:6 for me?
For I desire steadfast love and not sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings.
What does God desire?
Steadfast love and not sacrifice.
Interesting. What's that steadfast love in Hebrew?
Mercy.
Chesed. For I desire chesed. Not what?
Sacrifice.
What was the sacrifices? It's not that the sacrifice was bad, but it was, we get so focused on doing the right things, on following the rules, on this is what I have to do to look good or play the part. I'm doing this. See, I'm doing the sacrifices. I'm doing everything you told me to do. I'm doing the right things. A friend of mine, Dave Montz, anybody, there's only a few that remember Dave Montz. We were teaching the Hebraic perspective to him and a group of friends, and he was like passionate about it. And he got to the point where he's like, I want to take all 613 commandments and put them on an Excel spreadsheet so that every day I can come home and I can put a check mark next to all the ones that I did that day. I'm like, Dave, you don't get it. You're missing the point. It's not about the checklist. It's not about doing the right things and looking like see what I finished, look what I accomplished. It's not about the sacrifices. It's about the heart. It's not about what you have on the outside or what you see on the outside or what everybody's doing or what I'm doing on the outside. It's what is happening on the inside. It's about the motivation. Why do I do these things? Why do I love? Why do I extend compassion and mercy and chesed and these things? Why do I give generously to somebody else? Why do I sit and listen to somebody as they share their heart and their feelings? Why do I do these things? So that I look good? So that I get paid? Or is it because I genuinely care about those people? Chesed is what comes from the heart. God delights in the heart, on what is on the inside. Not the sacrifices, not the rote prayers. We live in a world where modern man, suffers from stress, trauma, whether it be the past or even the present. We struggle with a black hole for so many people, that there's this heart that I'm looking for something. I'm looking for love, or I'm looking for acceptance, or I'm looking for some type of relief in my life. And it's a black hole that is always consuming but never satisfied. It's always empty. It's always dark. And Yeshua says, happy the catharsis heart. Lucky are those who have gone through the process of giving all of this trauma and hurt and pain to God. Lucky are those who have gone through the process of forgiveness and chesed. Lucky are those who have gone through the process of restoration. Lucky are those who have gone through the process of surrendering. God, this life is yours, not mine. This heart is yours, not mine. Break this hard heart one piece at a time. Soften my heart so that I can have a heart that you have given me, a new heart, not a heart of stone. Lucky are those who have gone through the process. This gave new meaning to me as I was thinking about this, when I say nothing changes until I change. When I choose God, when I choose Yeshua, when I say, this is the King and I am serving him alone, that's it. No more about me, no more about my desires or my concerns about what other people think about me. No more am I concerned about I got to look good or play the part. No, I am surrendering all of this to you, God. And it's only about you, and I serve one King only. And it's then that the process of catharsis begins. And it's then that God slowly chips away at my heart, and true, real, authentic healing begins. And here's the rest of the verse. When that starts to happen, you start to see God. You start to see the winks happen around you. You start to see God's fingerprints, places that, how did that happen? As soon as I start to release and surrender and say, God, this life is yours, all of a sudden I start to see God working around me in my life and other places. I start to see his fingerprints everywhere. I'll start to see wait a second, how did that just happen? Was God a part of that? We start seeing things that we never saw before because our heart was so hardened. But because we've been willing to release and go through this catharsis of the heart and surrender everything to him, now all of a sudden I get the joy, the luckiness of seeing God working around me. As we conclude, I would be remiss not to mention that tomorrow is Father's Day. As a father, I can attest to being a parent who has gone through this process. How I can recognize how, as a young parent and a young adult who struggled with anger, I did. And how through the years of being a young adult struggling with anger and then having children, how that was a struggle for me. To not take my anger out on them. Especially when they were acting up in public and they're like, oh my gosh, what are people gonna think? And I can see how over the years God continually chipped away, brought healing to my life
Amen.
so that I didn't take my anger fully out on them. I mean, that was a process. You can ask them. I mean, there was some times where I was like, I was out of control. And I look back and I think, woe is me. But being a father is one of my greatest joys. It's one of my proudest memories, which makes me realize that if this is how I feel about my children, how does God feel about you? How does God feel about us? He has given us an opportunity not to just be gratitude or grateful and thankful for our fathers, but to be thankful to Him. Say, thank you, Lord. Abba, thank you. May you continue to take this heart of stone and break it apart piece by piece and replace it with a new heart of love, mercy, and chesed. Father, I thank you for this morning. May we leave here today desiring to come near to you, desiring to see you at work in our lives around us. If we are hard-hearted, I pray for conviction, Father. Convict us and point out where we are struggling, where we need to release this ego or pride or whatever it is to you. Humble us, Father, because we want to see you. It's in your holy name that we pray. Amen. Amen.